And at the official halfway point of our prelims, the fifth prelim, we've got Alonzo Menifield taking on Dustin Jacoby. Both fighters now have had a pretty good run in the UFC. Alonzo Menifield at 7-3-1 in the UFC. Dustin Jacoby at 7-4-1. Jacoby getting back on the winning ways after a split decision loss against Khalil Roundtree, who hell of an impressive win last week against Anthony Smith. Finished him in the first round. And then he lost to Azamat Murzakanov, which happens again, but ended up knocking out Kennedy and I'm not even gonna finish it. In the first round, you all know who I'm talking about. Everyone who's watching this video knows exactly who I'm talking about. And finished him with a right cross in Zechku. And I'm not, no. I said I wouldn't, and I tried again. I'm not doing it. But was able to finish him in his last fight. And that adds one more win to a couple of other impressive wins that he's already had in the UFC, like Mikhail Olegzayshek and Daun Jung. So somehow I can pronounce those two names, but not Kennedy's last name. But switching over to Menifield, he's been able to figure it out. He was a little bit slower early on in his career. Granted, he got 2 knockouts in his first 2 fights, finishing Vinicius Moreira and Paul Craig, who it seems like everyone's finished him at this point, sadly. But then he ended up losing to OSP and Devin Clark before making a good run, going 5-1 with 1 draw against Jimmy Crute in his last 6 fights. With 3 straight finishes as well. So, but where does he get it done? Jacoby, he's starting to get up there in age, but it's that kickboxing background. He fought Alex Pereira in kickboxing. He's fought tons of other veterans in the kickboxing world. And that's where if he's able to keep the fight at range, he's going to have a lot of success. And it's the leg kicks. The leg kicks get him started with every fight. And for Menifield, it's the hooks. Menifield is not a kickboxer, but it's those hooks and that power that really allows and makes opponents really second guess themselves. And if he's able to touch Dustin Jacoby early, I think that he could end up making Jacoby just second guess getting in the pocket with him, to where we could see a much different fight. But if Jacoby starts steamrolling, we could have a quick finish. What do you think?
I also give Jacoby the edge there. Being 12-2-1 in his last 15, whether it's kickboxing, boxing, or MMA since 2017, I think is awesome. Of course, 1-2 in the last 3 is not always the most ideal thing, but I do feel like Jacoby has been on a run here, and it's either make or break for him, because in the sense that he's kind of been that gatekeeper for a while at this light heavyweight division, where he's kind of sat there right at 15 or on the edge of that top 15. And you can only sit there in that spot for so long, where if somebody like Alonzo Menifield puts you out, then I think he's done being the gatekeeper. That's not necessarily knocking Alonzo Menifield, but I think we kind of know what it is with both these guys, their ages, etc. Menifield's defense will be a big question for this one. I think Jacoby should be able to put some calculated damage on him. And to your point, using that kickboxing skill set, really keep him at range, play it smart, because we know that Menifield is so good at putting people's lights out. It's really exciting to watch when he does. I just don't think he's going to be able to land as much as we think against Jacoby, who should be able to really play his own game and go up against someone in Menifield and land some nice strikes on him, who honestly, Alonzo Menifield, I don't see him being as skilled as Jacoby on the feet. So the pick for me, I am going with Dustin Jacoby in this one, in a fight of 2 older light heavyweight dudes, kind of trying to propel one or the other up the rankings and then try to make one go of it. But for a betting sense, I'm not entirely sure. For those who don't know, Rick and I don't really convene on what our picks are beforehand. We do it live on the air. So I was going to hear what you had for your betting pick, because I don't have my own, but I might side with you if I like what you say.
Yeah, I've got 2 different plays in this fight that I'll get to in a second, and really they all stem from the fact that these guys are going to want to strike. Jacoby's got the kickboxing, but does he get taken down? Menifield's not known, like everyone thinks of Menifield for the power, for the hooks, for the knockouts, but he's got a sneaky submission game in there. And if he's able to really counter those kicks a little bit with that and get Jacoby guessing, I think that he could end up being able to find his shot and potentially put Jacoby out. But if not, like I said, I think Jacoby could really start to find his groove. And once he finds his groove in that kickboxing, it's hard to get him out of it. The only thing that would be able to get him out of it is just getting hit clean with a counter right hook or something from Menifield. But to that point, I've got Jacoby as well. I think Jacoby wins this fight. I think he's able to implement that range, keep the fight at range and on the feet, and slowly beat Menifield, either finish him or potentially by decision. I think he finished him. But so I picked Jacoby, but I'm going to end up betting Menifield for a half unit. I think there's definitely an avenue for Menifield to win. And I don't think that he should nearly be a 2.5 to 1 dog. I don't think that he should be plus 230. I think of this more as a minus 200 fight, plus 160. And so that's a value play in a fight that I think will be more of a toss up. And so I'm going to throw that for a half unit. But then I'm also going to take the fight not to go the distance at minus 150 for a half unit as well. I think that Jacoby can get to some of those slower starts that Menifield might be able to take advantage of. But I think that we're going to end up getting into one too many car crash exchanges between these two Asian guys. And we're going to get one of these guys getting hit harder than he wants to get hit and get put out. So my picks, Menifield plus 230 for a half unit and fight not to go the distance, minus 150 for a half unit. Andy, does that entice you to take a play on this fight?
I probably am not. I probably am not, but that is because I totally agree with you that the odds are a little bit farther apart than I would have anticipated them to be. I just really feel that Dustin Jacoby wins, but I don't feel so strongly that I'm going to throw him into a parlay to cut that minus 245 down. And of course, I'm not going to take that minus 245 straight. No way. So Rick and I are both taking Jacoby to win the fight as our actual pick for the fight. However, Rick is going on that value from a betting sense, taking Menifield for half a unit as well as fight not to go the distance at minus 150 for also half a unit. Coming up next, we have another flyweight fight, this time in the women's division with King Casey O'Neill taking on Ariana Lipski. Stay tuned.